Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my MLB DraftKings picks for Thursday, June 1st. We've only got a 4-game main slate today on this Thursday. And because this is such a small slate, I'm just going to be doing a top 5 plays today. Won't be doing picks at each position. It's just kind of hard to give picks at each position when there's not really many options. And I don't want to give you guys players just because they're there. So I'm just going to be doing a top 5 plays today. And then you guys can use my top 5 plays and you can build around that. But yeah, let's go and get started. Alright, so looking at pitcher today, pitcher is pretty weak in my opinion. There's only a few pitchers that I'm really feeling confident in that I really think I want to roster. So starting off up top, you got Zach Greinke pitching against the Marlins. Greinke is really the only ace on this slate, so I think you just got to roster him. Even though he's really expensive at $12,700, I feel like he is the safest option by far. There are a little cheaper guys, and there are definitely a ton of value hitters today. I was looking over the slate before I started recording, and I was finding a lot of good value hitters, so I think it's actually pretty easy to fit Greinke in. So I'm going to be plugging him in as my SP1, 12,700. If you look at his matchup against the Marlins, it's definitely not a great matchup. The Marlins don't really strike out a lot versus righties. So far this year, they're only striking out 20% of the time, which is 23rd in the MLB, which is definitely pretty low. Offensively versus righties, they're about average when it comes to the league average and WOBA. They're hitting a 258 average versus righties and a 311 WOBA, which is definitely solid, but that's not really something you should be scared about. So I don't think this is absolutely a terrible matchup for Greinke. I actually think this is a solid matchup. I could definitely see him pitching well today. Greinke has definitely been dominant this year. He's only had 2 games this year where he's posted under 20 DraftKings points. That was the beginning of the year. He definitely got blown up by the Dodgers, but that was a pretty bad matchup. The Dodgers have some good lefty bats that hit him well. And then recently versus the Brewers, he put up 9 DraftKings points. That game was pitched in Miller Park, so the Brewers just kind of got to him in that game. But I love Greinke to bounce back off his last game today. He's going to be playing in Miami, and that ballpark is a good pitcher-friendly park. And Greinke definitely has the strikeout upside. He's seen his Ks really increase this year. We're kind of seeing the old Greinke that we saw in years past. So I like Zach Greinke today, 12,700. I think he's by far the safest option on the board. Right now, the Marlins do have the lowest implied run total. So Greinke, I expect him to get a win today. With Jeff Locke on the opposing mound, I expect the Diamondbacks to definitely rough up Jeff Locke. So I like Greinke's chances to get a win here. Get you those 4 extra DraftKings points, which are always helpful. So I'm going to be locking Zach Greinke in as my SP1 at 12,700. And then for SP2, I'm going to be looking for the mid-range here, and I'm looking at Eduardo Rodriguez, 8,900, going up against the Orioles. I know once you plug these 2 guys in your lineup, you're only left with 3,500 remaining per player, but I'm definitely going to give you some, my 3 other hitters are definitely going to be value plays. They're all going to be 3,500 or less, so you can still use my 5 plays and build a lineup out of it. I want to give you guys players that you can make a lineup of. I'm not going to give you just the top plays at each position. But yeah, looking at Eduardo Rodriguez's matchup, this is definitely a matchup where he could get a ton of strikeouts. If you look at Baltimore so far this year versus left-handed pitchers, they rank 5th when it comes to K rate versus lefties, striking out 24.5% of the time. And versus lefties, they hit him pretty well with a 260 average and a 316 WOBA. But Rodriguez has already faced this team once this year, and he did very solid. He pitched 6 innings against this team, got the win, got 7 strikeouts against them, finished with 27 DraftKings points. So he's already seen this team once this year and pitched well against them. Rodriguez has definitely been solid this year. He's just been really consistent, hasn't really gotten blown up much. The only time he ever did bad was against Toronto and Detroit, but other than that, he's been really solid this year, been very consistent, and he definitely has K upside here. The Orioles will definitely strike out a lot against lefties, so I like Eduardo Rodriguez as my SP2 today at 8,900. I like the matchup, I like the K potential here, and he's already faced this team once this year and done very well against them. So I like Eduardo Rodriguez as my SP2. And then for my 3 hitters, I'm going to be giving you 3 value hitters here, all 3,500 or less. So starting off at catcher, there's a punt play that I absolutely love here. That's Martin Maldonado, just 2,800, getting a matchup against Meji. I think that's how you say his name is Meji. Lefty pitcher for the Twins. He's not that good. Maldonado, I love this matchup for him. If you look at his splits so far this year versus lefties, he has been absolutely crushing lefties this year. If you look at his average versus lefties, he's hitting a 444 average versus lefties, and versus righties, he's only hitting a 223 average. So there's a big differential there. And then if you look at his advanced stats, his WOBA versus lefties, He's hitting a 5.11 WOBA versus lefties and only a 2.67 versus righties. So Maldonado has been absolutely crushing lefties. He's going to be going up against a pretty bad lefty today. So I love Martin Maldonado. Is one of those value plays that you're going to need if you want to play Zach Greinke. He did actually get moved up in the lineup. Right now, as I'm recording this video, it is the day before and it is the night before. When the Angels lineup came out Wednesday night, they had Maldonado batting 5th versus Jaime Garcia. If he continues to bat towards the top of the order, absolutely love Maldonado as a value play. You're probably really going to need him if you want to play Greinke. So Martin Maldonado, good value play on the slate in my opinion at 2,800. Then at outfield, I'm going to be looking for 2 value hitters here. First off, I really like Chris Young today, just 3,500, getting a matchup against Wade Miley. Chris Young, also known as a lefty masher, he does hit lefties very well. And Wade Miley was definitely solid at the beginning of the year, but we've really seen him come down to earth lately. So I love this spot for Chris Young. He's also going to be playing in Baltimore, in Camden Yards, and that's a great ballpark for hitters. And Chris Young also has some pretty solid BVP against Wade Miley. It's definitely a little bit of a small sample size. But in 12 at-bats against Miley, Chris Young has had 5 hits. 2 of those hits have actually been extra base hits. And he's batting a .417 average versus Wade Miley. So Chris Young has seen Miley well. He's always known as a lefty masher. And at just 3,500, I think he's another value play that you're really going to need today if you want to pay up for Greinke. He should be batting 4th, 5th probably in that Red Sox lineup. So I really like Chris Young today. Is a value play that you can target at outfield for just 3,500. And then another value play at that same price tag that I really like is Kevin Pillar for 3,500 going up against CC Sabathia. Absolutely love this spot for Pillar, and I love his price tag. CC Sabathia has been an absolute gas can this year. I'm definitely expecting the Blue Jays to really rough him up today. I think the Blue Jays are probably the top stack of the day. So I love Kevin Pillar if you want a piece of that offense for very cheap. He has been a little up and down as of late. In his last 4 games, he's put up 7, 7, 2, and 6 DraftKings points. But we know Kevin Pillar, he definitely has upside. He has good power. He has already homered 7 times this year. Pillar definitely has some speed as well. He's already had 8 stolen bases. So I think Pillar could get us a couple stolen bases here if he does get on base. Definitely has a chance to go deep with 7 home runs. And playing in Toronto, that's a good hitter-friendly park. So I really like Kevin Pillar today. There's another value play that you're going to need if you want to play Zach Greinke. So I like Pillar for value at just 3,500. So yeah, these are my top 5 plays for tonight, guys. I went with Zach Greinke, Eduardo Rodriguez, Martin Maldonado, Chris Young, and Kevin Pillar. When you plug these 5 guys in your lineup, that leaves you an average of 3,700 remaining per player, which I know is low, but you can definitely build around that. I was looking at this slate earlier, and I found a ton of value plays. There are a lot of guys on this slate who just seem a little bit underpriced. So you can definitely use these 5 guys, or maybe if you just want to use a couple, put them in your lineup and then build around that. Or if you want to get my lineups, then be sure to follow me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. My lineups are $5 a day, or you can get a week of lineups for $25. So be sure to message me on Twitter if you are interested in that. I do also give out FanDuel lineups as well, so if you play on FanDuel, you can still get my lineups. And all my results are posted on Twitter. So if you want to see the results of my lineups, then be sure to follow me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. I do post all my results, even if I win or lose. I show you guys the full lineup that I gave out. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you never want to miss out on any videos, please be sure to click the bell icon next to my YouTube name. That'll actually notify you every time I upload. So if you never want to miss out on any videos, please be sure to do that, guys. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.
She said hurt people, yeah. She said hurt people, yeah. She said hurt people, yeah. She said hurt people.